Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller, and once again, I did not do everything right. I had just about everything right, and then I look, and I still have yesterday's title. So, it's alright. It's alright. That is, of all the things I always do, how minor of a goof up is that? So let me get into live events real quick and change that for y'all. Edit. And today's title will be Trump. How should I phrase this? Okay, so the title is Court OK's Trump Rule Defunding $60 million from Planned Parenthood. So Trump triumphant. It's terrible. All right. That'll be my terrible title for this episode of Cross Examinations Live. Trump triumphant. And we will get to that. In a half an hour or so. All right. This is yesterday's program. So let's jump in first and see how everybody is doing. Pop out this here chat. Let's see who's here. I can't wait to see who's in first place. Is it Aaron Alfecci? No, it's not. Oh my goodness. Hugh Jass. Yo, you are in first place today. Dennis Peruge comes in a tight second. Withheld rather not say. Pulls in for a bronze medal. Peter Sharon, Alpha Proto, Michael Pernesti, Aaron Louvier, In a Disguise, Andrew J, Kevin Ryan, Xgal WK. Thought I'd accidentally time travel. Nope. Matthew Lemons. What up, guys? Yeah, I know. It was so close. I was like, okay, this. I got this. Start. Crap! Whatever. It is what it is. At least I'm not muted this time. I hate it when I mute myself. Ugh. What a magoo I can be at times. All right, let's we're saying you're second for what? To be here. Whoever gets here first gets first, second, and third place, you know? Well, whoever gets here first gets first place, but Aaron Alfecci, where are you? Where is Aaron? He's missing. Trump's triumphs terrible task. Tongue twisters, tie your tongue. Second to chat. Yeah, all right. Notifications are going out. Fantastic. Good to hear. But that does not relinquish you from your responsibility to hit that like button and to hit that share button and to get some fine folks in here. Trump triumphant. Cross-examination live. So my wife and oldest, the old evil E, as people refer to him for some reason, Malin started that. They're off at VidCon. Well, actually, just my son. He's off at VidCon, which, considering I'm a YouTuber now, big famous YouTuber, 6,600 subs. No. That's I don't know. That's someplace I probably should have gone. Wow, this silkscreen is just coming right off of my t-shirt. Maybe it's time to retire this shirt. Just happened to my homepage. Wow. Sorry about that. And yeah, so VidCon. I'd be a pretty cool place to go. You know what's funny is like I'm sitting here, you know, I hang out with Ethan, with Doug, with Cecil, with Geeks and Gamers. And hang out with all these people with like 100 or more thousand, or at least, you know, 10 or 12,000 subs, and I feel like, oh, I have 6,600, and it feels like nothing, right? Oh, dang it. Elliot, you're supposed to come on with me. And he just launched his own channel. But man, you know, you tell your average nobody. I was at the Bible study on Thursday, and I was telling one of the young adults there, about my YouTube channel. Oh, you have a YouTube channel? I go, yeah, it's got 6,600 subs, and he's like, what? So I'm like, oh, it's pretty. To the wider world, 6,600 that's a lot of subs. I mean, I remember trying to get to 1,000 subs a year ago, and I was like, they always say the first 1,000 is the hardest. Well, it's been a year. Say, Mike, where is VidCon so we can go support Masters of Mayhem? I think it's in Anaheim. I think it is in Anaheim. Shade says it's not about how many, but how well you reach your audience. Well, I can reach right there. To all 32 people of my 6,657 subs. 6,600. If you're here and you're not subscribed yet, please do. I'd like to swing right past that 6,660 something area. I'd just like to smooth that right over. Not that I think that's anyways. It's not about how many. Hey, buddies. Been off YouTube a while. What is up? Force Ghost Burt Reynolds. How you been? Can I read comments from yesterday? I want to know whose history scapegoats are. Yeah, let me do that now, actually. Yesterday's comments were 3 comments. Starting with withheld, rather not say. What was today's show about? I was out today, so I didn't watch. By the way, Micah Curtis might put Bone Star in the background of his book, Inglewood. So look out for that, Mike. Well, tell you what. Yesterday's show, History Scapegoats, Christians were yesterday's topic about how people try to blame Christians for the fall of the Roman Empire, which is inaccurate, although no, it's just inaccurate. You guys know I'm not a fan of the history of the Catholic Church. But you can't say, I mean, it was the Catholic Church that saved Western civilization, even though it may have been a bit of a bump in the road, a long bump in the road that had its own issues. The Catholic Church saved Western civilization. I mean, it's a historical truth. You can't argue with it. So, Super Crusader says, I agree. Marriage is a religious institution created by God that predates law and government. Man has neither the right nor the authority to alter it. I agree. Well, you're agreeing with me. Do you think the far left's obsession with redefining marriage and God's plan for sex and gender, their insatiable bloodlust for even the most violent and extreme forms of abortion, including infanticide, and tendency toward fascism, violence, racism, could be symptomatic of a greater spiritual battle? Yeah, the destruction for the plan of the nuclear family, the mother, father, children. Everyone has their roles. Everyone treats each other with love and respect. Absolutely, that is, I think, the greater spiritual battle that we've been fighting for generations, if not centuries. Could it be that in rejecting God's principles, they have, knowingly or not, opened themselves up to demonic influence, and their staggeringly immoral and illogical behavior is them sharing in Satan's rebellion? It's an interesting perspective. I am of the belief that people are generally rebellious enough without the aid of Satan pushing them over the edge. That's not to say that, Satan and demons don't interfere and push people over the edge. But I know people. I know people. I was people. I am people. And I've been on both sides of this. I was raised agnostic. I had a basic rule in life that I was taught. I got the wrong message from the lessons that an agnostic father was trying to teach me. And what I got out of it was, whatever I do, don't get caught. So I don't think that was Satan. I think that was just my own rebellious. I don't know. There was no God in my family. There was no God taught, and so the overriding rules of right and wrong were amorphous at best. They were, I mean, he tried to instill morality into me, but to what purpose? If there's no ultimate morality, i.e. God, then what's the reason for morality? I mean, if you can get away with something and it'll benefit you, why not? Oh, because it'll hurt other people. I know, but what if you don't care? Well, then you're immoral. Based on who? Based on what? You know? I mean, it is a very chase your own tail kind of a morality when you get into moral relativism and subjective morality. But if there is a lawgiver and a morality giver, then you can have a... It's not to say someone who's a, I don't know what, innately good person, although nobody's actually really good, but say a better person than I was, just innately. It's not to say someone can be raised, not to say they can't be raised without God and still somehow manage to abide basic moral principles. It's not to say it can't happen. It didn't happen in my case. Maybe I thought about it too much. If you don't think about it much and you're like, oh, well, Dad said not to do that. And then you're like, okay, I'm not going to do it because Dad said not to. But I thought deeper than that. And I was like, oh, Dad said not to. But Dad only said not to because he caught me. Yeah, he spanked me. But really, where's the authority here? Your father's the authority. So therefore, if you can get away with something and not get caught, and you don't get spanked, you got away with it, didn't you? So is there anything wrong with that? Not if there's no such thing as right and wrong, ultimately. Anyways, Kevin Ryan says, okay, Mike, you looked at me like I had 3 heads when I mentioned the American Emperor when you brought up San Francisco. The guy's name was Joshua Norton, and he went mad and proclaimed himself Emperor of the United States in September 1859. The city played along, giving him free dinners and hotels and a city-paid funeral. Both Mark Twain and Neil Gaiman have written about him, so there. Gosh, I do, but very, very vaguely remember that, Kevin. That's I should probably delve back into that at some point. That is interesting. All right. I was people. Let me scroll back up, see what you guys have thought about what I've said so far. Cough, Malin draws with crayons. Cough, in a disguise says, "Aw, dear Lord, the ego is setting in. The ego, the id, the ego." As far as I can tell, VidCon is mostly a place for YouTube famous people to get into in real life drama with each other. I've never been. I did want to at least check one out. I want to meet Rhett and Link too, but I don't think, I'm not going to go pay hundreds of dollars to go meet Rhett and Link. It's like, where is VidCon? Oh yeah. Doing great, getting better, rock and roll, Force Ghost. The Jews was win as history's scapegoats. I'm not going to touch that. I'm used to it. Battle of Tours. I think preserved as much as they could rather than saved. Western civilization? Well, no. If it wasn't for the Catholic Church and the Crusades, you'd all be speaking Arabic if you were alive at all. You probably just wouldn't be alive. I mean, let's be realistic. P Money says we wouldn't even have books if it wasn't for monastery libraries. Unrelated Coma says always accuse others of what you are doing. Rules for radicals. Saul Alinsky. Yeah, seems like. War2 says everyone always says if they could go back in time and stop someone, the answer is always Hitler. But I would say Marx is the better choice to retro abort. I don't know. Who do you think Hitler? Who's? Well, yeah, because it's Stalin. I don't know. Might go with Darwin. Because Hitler and Stalin were both sort of on that atheist evolution train. They were using that as an underlying reason why all their stuff made sense. Hitler more so than Stalin. But I wouldn't kill anybody as a baby. It's terrible. I used to be people. I still am, but I used to be as well. How many millions already dead could be worse? Morality is supernatural. Yes, Artane, morality is supernatural. If morality is natural, then we must abide survival of the fittest, which means that if that honestly there should not be any laws against a strong guy killing a weak guy, right? If that's morality, if it's the natural that is morality, then it goes against, I don't know. You know what I mean? Survival of the fittest. If that's the case, then Hitler was onto something, trying to create the master race. Hey, Stalin was onto something. You gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet. If morality is not supernatural, then you cannot condemn any of the actions of the greatest mass murderers in history. That's kind of sad. I grew up Catholic and still have an angry spot for the penguins. Oh, nuns. Greetings, mostly humans. Greetings. An argument. Where's Cecil? I don't know. Scroll back up here. Ooh, cabbage soup. I've never had that, but it kind of sounds good. I love cabbage. I do love cabbage. I don't know why. Most people have an innate sense of morality. It exists because it's needed for society to function. What? I'm live streaming. Hold on, my daughter called. What? I'm on cross-examination. Riveting television, I know. Your experience growing up is atypical. Everybody's experience growing up is atypical. There's no such thing as typical. Everybody's experience growing up is unique. Matthew says, I went the other way. Family was Baptist and always went to Sunday school, etc., but I just couldn't buy into it. I really loved the stories and would write superhero stories about the characters. Yeah, I mean, hey, that's why I am fond of saying, however you grew up, however, whatever you learned, whatever your parents taught you. Gosh, I was just thinking about this today. It's like, why do I entertain things like not going to the moon and stuff like that? Why do I leave my mind open to those possibilities? It's, I think, because I have sort of a distrust for authority, right? Which was what allowed me to question how I was raised, which allowed me to question what I was taught. And because of that, I could put those beliefs to the test. I could open my mind to the possibility that God was real, and then I could do the study and the research to find out whether or not the Bible held water as to its claims of being written from an authorship outside of the human experience. And I found those claims to hold water, and that's how I ended up being a Christian. That's how I ended up believing in the Bible. If you have, you're saying it, what did you say? Just couldn't buy into it. Did you really study the claims of the Bible, though? Right? I mean, the stories are great. I do love the stories in the Bible. But the Bible makes particular claims, right? And it says test it by its claims. Well, it doesn't say that, but, in a way it says. It's a very bad paraphrase. But Jesus says they have Moses and the prophets. If they believe not in them, then they wouldn't believe if a man should rise from the grave. The prophecy in the Bible is replete. It is throughout. Some say there's as much as 1/3 of the Bible is actual prophecy. And these prophecies, some of them are just, some of them are untestable, right? Because they're like prophesied 4,000 years ago and then fulfilled 3,000 years ago, and it's like stuff you can't test in a modern context. But there's prophecies that lead all the way up into this past century. There's a prophecy of Israel becoming a nation birthed in a single day, and if you date it from the date the prophecy was given, some 3,000 years ago, to the day it happened, May 14th, 1948, it is mathematically exact. Stuff like that. Stuff like Tyre, which we can qualify as having happened because it was written, the prophecy of the destruction of Tyre was written some 300 years prior to the destruction of Tyre, and then the destruction of Tyre was written about, described in secular history hundreds of years later, fulfilling like to the letter how it was described 300 years prior to the fact. And no, you can't go back and say, oh, it was written after the fact, even though that's what they try to do. But that's how I went from agnostic to Christian. It was because I started testing all of these claims, and I was like, does this actually hold water? Because the Bible also says in Deuteronomy 18 that if someone claims to speak for God and what they say does not come true, they're supposed to be stoned to death. False prophets are to be executed. So when a prophet writes, "Thus saith the Lord," and then writes down what the Lord said, he's putting his life on the line. As he's either crazy or he's a prophet of God. And the way they tested that was if he said what he said came to pass, then he is a prophet of God. If what he said did not come to pass, they killed him. And stoning is not a great way to go, just so you know. So I tested it, Matthew. I don't know if you ever got around to testing it, or if you just thought, really? That doesn't sound legit, because, you know, nobody comes back from the dead. Well, yeah, nobody comes back from the dead in the natural world. That's why it's called a miracle. You know what? Telling history hundreds and thousands of years in advance also doesn't happen in the natural world. It is miraculous, and it is evidence that God is the author of the Bible. And I did, because that biblical claim that, you know, only God knows the end from the beginning. Because of that claim, I did go out and I searched other holy writs, and I searched claimed prophets like Nostradamus for concise, accurate prophecy, and they all failed the test. Because, you know, if God had other words out there, I'd want to know them. I'd want to read them. I'd want to believe them, because God is God, right? And if he's out there writing other books for other people in other lands, I want to read those books too. But they all failed the test. Only the Hebrew Scriptures, only the Old and New Testament hold water when it comes to that test of authorship. So, do your own research. I hope you can come to the same conclusion I did. Thunderbird said I turned out pretty good. You wouldn't have said that about me in high school. Mecca says, going to a research conference with 2 opposition journalists. Boy, is this going to be a fun time. Wannabe human rights activists playing moral warriors game. Where's Cecil? No idea. LOL at Rhett and Lake. What's your take on eel sushi? Unagi or anago? I think I prefer unagi, but I like anago too. There would be no Hitler without Marx as we know him. Would there be no Hitler without Marx as we know him? No, that's a fair point. Hitler was brought to power by the socialists in Germany, so there would be no socialists without Marx. Fair point. I don't believe in taking out one person. It does not remove the reason why they came to believe what they did. I would say Margaret Sanger. Yeah, I know. Founder of abortion. Well, no, she was not the founder of abortion. She's the founder of Planned Parenthood. Interesting fact. Abortion has been around forever, right? They used to use potions that would kill an unborn baby. Potions, you know. But interesting thing, I was looking at a book on Pompeii, like they had all the artifacts and stuff they found in Pompeii, and one of the things they had was a set of surgical instruments. Boy, JoJo's really crying. I might have to wrap this up. I'm going to just tell this, and I'm going to wrap this up because I got to take care of my kid. So there was a set of surgical instruments, and they said they didn't know what they were for. But if you looked at them, they were remarkably similar to modern-day abortive surgical equipments. Well, I don't want to describe it all, but surgical abortion might have been invented in Pompeii, and hey, that would be a really good reason for God to wipe them out. Anyways, I do apologize for wrapping this up so early, but my daughter can't seem to take care of JoJo, and my wife is out of town, so I'm gonna go take care of my kid. I guess we'll talk about Trump being triumphant some other time. Thanks, guys. I'll see